I'm meteorologist T.J. Shuck in the WHAS-11 First Alert Weather Center. Do have some severe weather moving into Kentuckiana as we speak. New tornado warning out here for southern and eastern parts of DuBois County, the northwestern part of Perry County, and a small little sliver of extreme western Crawford County, and that goes until the top of the hour at 10 p.m. Meteorologist Alden German on the radar here. This is a supercell thunderstorm, which, believe it or not, has survived since earlier this evening, really late this afternoon. It did produce some damage back into northeastern Arkansas on the east side of Jonesboro, Arkansas, shot up through southeastern parts of Missouri, and then has been riding up the Ohio River. If we can put a track on it, Alden, right now it is rapidly moving off to the northeast at 65 miles per hour. So again, we are at 9:40 Eastern here, and at the top of the hour, it will be already through this area. It's moving that quickly. So at least a part of the cell that could potentially be tornadic, I think, is right there just south of the Santa Claus area, coming up toward Ferdinand there in extreme southern parts of DuBois County. If we can actually do a little line on it, Alden, instead of tracking the particular cell, just want to show this entire thing, because again, the winds within this have the potential of being over 70 miles per hour. We had a report back down around the Henderson area of a 90 mile per hour wind gust, and that was measured by the Mesonet. It wasn't an estimate, so this has the potential of producing some damaging straight line winds in addition to the possible tornadoes. So again, if you're in southern, southeastern DuBois County, northwestern parts of Perry County, or extreme western Crawford County, and even folks into southern Orange County, the rest of Crawford County, and even over again into parts of western Harrison County, I would go ahead and be prepared to get to your safe place, because this thing again is moving on down the pike. Some of the areas are already being impacted. Huntingburg in southern DuBois County, that's right now. Addyville looks like. Again, we've got Central and Eastern times on here. The Bird's Eye area at about 9:52 Eastern, Patoka Lake just before the top of the hour, close to 10 o'clock Eastern, and then eventually it looks like the southern edge of this will be over toward, actually the central and southern edge of it will be toward English, which of course is the county seat of Crawford County, just after the top of the hour. If we can switch over to the velocity data, Alden, here we'll show you what the winds are doing relative to the radar site. Just click on the top banner there you go, and this will show you here again what the winds are doing relative to the radar site. Anything in red, keep in mind the radar is back down here at Fort Knox. Anything in red is going away from the radar. Anything in green or blue is going toward the radar. So in this area right here, right around Ferdinand, and again not far from Huntingburg there along US 231, we've got some broad rotation. And again, keep in mind the radar beam is at the surface and it's shooting up, and the farther away you get from the radar site, you get a little higher up into the storm. So this is probably maybe 3,000 or 4,000 feet off the deck. So we do have some rotation in this, but again, anytime you see this deeper blue along with the green going toward the radar site, this generally is an indication of 70, 75, maybe even 80 mile per hour winds aloft, and those very easily can get down to the surface. So again, this leading edge and those winds shooting out ahead of this big complex of thunderstorms, it's going to come rolling through Ferdinand right now. Again, Huntingburg being affected, so up toward Patoka Lake there, southwestern part of Orange County, English there, and central Crawford County. Even though you're not in the polygon just yet, only 15 minutes from now, this will be set to expire, and then I think we will see this extended off to the northeast. So it does look like this cluster of thunderstorms, again with that supercell that has been long-lived, will probably impact southern Indiana. This is going to be definitely over the next hour or so. So again, we're going to have to stick with this, because this is very, very strong winds. And again, we're seeing with the loop here of the velocity data, you can kind of see how that comes together together right where that tornado warning is there across the southern part of Du Bois County. So let's go back to the reflectivity if we can, Alden, kind of broaden things out a little bit and show you the bigger picture of what's going on. Just torrential rain. Earlier, a few hours ago, again, this cell was kind of creeping right up the river, and just a number of tornado warnings along the Ohio River, and you see a good many lightning strikes as well. The good news as far as flash flooding, there may be a little bit of potential of that, especially I think these areas where the heavy storms are entering right now, and then you've got more back to the west, but they generally will be in and out in fairly short order. So this entire mass is moving eastward. I do think here in the metro area within the next hour or so, we will get at least something in the way of thunderstorms, the potential for some very strong wind gusts, and maybe even some severe weather. But that storm that we're really watching here with the tornado warning for Du Bois, parts of Perry, and extreme southwestern Crawford County, again, that's for about another 15 minutes. And just kind of notice here, just out of the viewing area, back into parts of Hancock County, maybe clipping northern Ohio County, and then back toward Owensboro, severe thunderstorm warning out for that part of the line. So really this entire cluster, you can see where the deeper red is on the reflectivity, the potential of some hail, damaging winds, and again, that area that we're really focusing on, if we can zoom back in there, Alden, on that and put another track on it. So again, Du Bois County, southern Du Bois County, and northwestern Perry and extreme western parts of Crawford County. But again, English here, it's going to be toward you by not long after the top of the hour. So folks in Crawford County, southern Orange County, and even over into parts of Harrison, southwestern Washington County, Indiana, I would go ahead and make your preparations. Again, go to a basement. If you do not have a basement, go to an interior room, the lowest level of your home, preferably a closet or a bathroom. You want to keep as much room between yourself and the outside world away from exterior walls. Simple things like, if you've got a baseball helmet, a bicycle helmet, put it on. I mean, when we have tornado warnings, the potential for any flying debris, you need to cover your head, protect your head for any potential debris that could be flying around. So again, some of the areas impacted here coming up within the next 10 minutes, it's going to be up toward Patoka Lake here again in the southwestern part of Orange County. English a little after the top of the hour, 10:03, so that's about 15 minutes from now, and then eventually it should and will move on through parts of Harrison County. Looks like the northern part of Harrison County through much of Crawford County, already beginning to start to see some heavier rain. English back toward Birdseye and up into Orange County, crossing US 150 up toward Palmyra and Pekin there in the southern part of Washington County. Alden, do we have any storm reports coming out at all from the Weather Service?
Nothing since they first issued that warning.
All right, let's flip back to the velocity data once again, and this shows you what the winds are doing relative to the radar site, and what we look for are the greens and the reds that are fairly close together. This back here in blue, if you can query that, Alden, just click on the query there just to see what the winds are looking like. As far as you may have to take the warnings off to get it to take. If you can click that off, just to show you what the winds are doing a few thousand feet above the deck here. I think they're upwards of 75, 80 miles per hour, because again, back in Henderson, which is back toward Owensboro, we had a 90-mile-per-hour wind gust measured by the Kentucky Mesonet. So if you take the warnings off completely, Alden, the box will disappear, and then you can query that, and that'll give us kind of an indication. So you see, it's indicating 70-mile-per-hour winds. Again, this is probably 3,000 or 4,000 feet above the ground, and it's pretty easy on that leading edge to get those damaging wind gusts down to the ground. So really anywhere between Ferdinand, Birdseye here, Huntingburg, it's on top of you right now, and that circulation is working. It looks like, again, very broad. It's more so up into Du Bois County and heading up toward Orange County, not so much across northern Perry County, but again, being a safe place there, because the leading edge of this, even away from the circulation, has the potential of doing some straight line winds. I think back over Henderson County, in addition to having that 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts. I think they had a repeater tower blown over by this strong line of thunderstorms that is moving into the western part of our viewing area right now. We do have a tornado watch, if we can show you that. Alden will click over here for basically the entire area, and that goes until 3 a.m. This was put out probably within the last 45 minutes or so. It generally includes really all of the viewing area, the only exception being Lawrence, Jackson, and Jennings County up into southern Indiana. But again, the most intense part of this area of thunderstorms now impacting southern Du Bois, northwestern Perry, and eventually it's going to be rolling up into Orange, all of Crawford County, you folks in Salem, also down toward Corden, north of the interstate especially. I think everyone's going to catch some strong thunderstorms, including the metro area. Let's go back to the radar and we'll show you again the broader view, and we could even, if you can even put it in motion, Alden, just to kind of give an idea how this stuff is slowly working eastward, but the individual cells are working very quickly to the northeast. Again, that cell for the tornado warning is moving to the northeast at 65 miles per hour. Just that movement alone is enough to potentially cause some wind damage. So I think really anywhere from Bedford down to Paoli, English, down toward Brandenburg, Hardinsburg, even though like Breckinridge County here, not under a warning at all. Notice the severe thunderstorm warning just out to your west into Hancock County, back into Daviess County around Owensboro. And we're even starting to see a few isolated cells out on their own develop and head up toward Caneyville and Litchfield there in Grayson County along the Western Kentucky Parkway. So I think really along and north of the Kentucky Parkways up into southern Indiana, that's really going to be the focal point. You folks down here, Mumfordville, Campbellsville, Greensburg, and Columbia, you may catch a bit of this, but again, the most intense part is right here across the western part of the viewing area. Already starting to see some moderate to even heavy rain from Paoli, French Lick, down to Patoka Lake and English, and then you notice how everything really intensifies. You see those deeper reds. We got a lot of lightning strikes, very heavy rain, and the concern, in addition to the isolated tornado threat with the warning that we have here for about another 9 minutes, is the potential
TG,
for some straight line wind damage. Alden?
TG, just going to interrupt you here for a second. Sure. The Weather Service is saying that they're seeing signs that that storm there in Du Bois County might start to spin up again, so they are considering issuing another tornado warning downstream. That's why I've gone ahead and thrown up velocity here if you want to see if you see anything.
Yeah. So that's what I was talking about a couple of minutes ago. Down the line, because this is moving so quickly, they're trying to get ahead of it as far as issuing the warnings downstream here. So Crawford County, English, down toward Leavenworth, but more so up toward Patoka Lake, French Lick, Paoli, along US 150, eventually into parts of western Washington County, Indiana, and also northern Harrison County. This entire area that has those straight line wind damage potential upwards of 70, 75, again, even 80 miles per hour, and the possibility of a spin-up tornado, thus the warning here. And again, you look for the greens and the reds. What this is, it's showing what the wind is doing relative to the radar site. Anything in red is going away from the radar. Our radar is down here at Fort Knox, so anything in red goes away from the radar. Anything in green, kind of curling around here, is going toward the radar. So when you see those side by side right here in this area, this is probably 3,000 or 4,000 feet up above the surface here. It is showing some rotation, and the deeper blue here, that's an indication that those winds at that level are anywhere from 65 to 75 miles per hour, and given the environment out there right now, it's very easy to get those down to the surface and create some wind damage. So you need to be in a safe place. Eastern Du Bois, northern part of Perry County, really all of Crawford County now, even though you see where the warning cuts off pretty sharply, just crossing the border here into southwestern Crawford County. If they extend it out, it'll include Orange County, all of Crawford County, English, Leavenworth there along the river, and maybe even up toward French Lick and Paoli. Very intense rain. Even though we're not overly concerned with the flash flood threat, there's enough rain back behind it, and this is very intense rainfall, despite the fact that it's moving quickly. It's enough to dump rainfall rates 2-3 inches per hour, even though it's not going to last that long, but that could be enough to potentially produce some flash flooding in this area off to the west of Louisville. Here in the metro proper, we're just kind of playing the waiting game. It has been a summer-like evening. It has been very, very warm and muggy. It's felt like the middle of summer out there. Temperatures are still into the mid, even upper 70s. So we're waiting for this to arrive. I do think it'll be, again, within the next hour or so, maybe right around news time, 11 o'clock or so, that leading edge, at least to the rain shield, already beginning to work into parts of Harrison County. And then let's go back to the west just a little bit farther, Alden. And I do want to get a track on this as it is moving very, very quickly. I mean, notice the leading edge of this already beginning to outrace the tornado warning polygon here. So
and
it's
they also
literally
just put out a new severe thunderstorm warning there. Just
yeah,
to the south
new
of it.
severe thunderstorm warning you see right down here. You can kind of see the yellow shading here. That's Branchville, Carefree. You're in it there. It looks like it's just central eastern parts of Perry County, small little sliver of Meade County, and then working into southeastern Crawford and extreme western parts of Harrison County. That's a severe thunderstorm warning. How long does that go till, Alden?
10:30
10:30. So 10:30 Eastern, severe thunderstorm warning for this right here. Again, this leading edge, potential of damaging wind gusts, and still have that tornado warning, even though literally the most intense part of the cell is outrunning the warning box, or polygon that is, which will expire here in about 5 minutes. So we'll find out here very, very shortly whether they are going to extend that tornado warning down the line, which would include Crawford County, part of Orange County, and maybe even parts of west central Washington County. But of concern as well, even though we're concentrating on the severe thunderstorm or the tornado warning here, we've got that severe thunderstorm warning that's just out. So it's south of English. They're right along I-64, comes up just west of Corydon, so part of western Harrison, southeastern Crawford, good chunk of Perry County, and then just a small sliver off to the northwest of Brandenburg, including Meade County. That goes until 10:30. So actually, Alden, if we can put a little track on this, I'm assuming that it's moving at about 60, 65 miles per hour. That's what this entire cluster of thunderstorms has had a history with the forward movement. So given that speed here, we're looking at Leavenworth here. That's going to be at about 10:09. Alton at about 10:04. New Amsterdam 10:13, and up toward Corydon. And again, this is a severe thunderstorm, but with this area of thunderstorms at any point with the rotation that we've been seeing, we could see a little isolated tornado spin up. So
and TG, they are not going to reissue a new tornado warning. They did just put out a new severe thunderstorm warning for that cell, but they do have the tornado possible tag on it. So they're still wanting to keep a close eye on it in case something does spin up. There's also a report in here now of a 51 mile per hour wind gust at Huntingburg.
Yep.
That was about 9:49.
Yeah, when it moved through southern part of Du Bois County there. So Max, let's come back here real quick. Here's what I want to do. Since we're about out of the tornado warning, let's put a track on it roughly from northeastern Du Bois County through Patoka Lake and then down right on that leading edge and stretch it out as far as it'll go here. And then we'll send you back to programming. And of course, we will monitor this as it continues to work its way into southern Indiana. So Patoka Lake, Paoli, English. Here are your arrival times. Just in a few minutes, Patoka Lake, English at about 7 after the hour. Paoli up in Orange County at 10:14. Corydon 10:24. Salem in Washington County at 10:34. The southern edge of this heading toward New Albany here in the metro area within the next 45 minutes. Sellersburg at 10:46 and up toward Scottsburg along I-65 at 10:51. So basically within the hour, within the next 45 minutes or so, this area of strong to severe thunderstorms will come into the metro area. We do have the potential of wind damage with wind gusts in excess of 70 miles per hour and still that potential of an isolated tornado spin up. So we're about to the top of the hour. That tornado warning is going to expire. Severe thunderstorm warnings, Orange County into Crawford County, down into Perry, parts of Meade and Harrison County, and extreme western Washington County, Indiana. So this entire area.
Go ahead, TG, sorry.
No, this entire area is going to be rapidly moving toward Louisville Metro here. So about 45 minutes, this will come trucking on through. We'll have to watch these cells down here to the south. Also, the one coming into Breckinridge County, coming out of Hancock County here. These have been developing out on their own. So they've got that warm, moist, and unstable air to feed off of. And even though, again, we're seeing the tornado warning expiring here at the top of the hour, it's a severe thunderstorm warning with the possible tornado tag. So you folks in English, up towards Salem, French Lick, Paoli, Cordon, anywhere west of Louisville here in southern Indiana, keep an eye on the weather. Be prepared to go to your safe spot immediately. Might not be a good idea to go ahead and get there as this intense line of thunderstorms moves across Kentuckiana. So meteorologist Alden German and I will be here continuing to monitor things. We get another tornado warning. We'll break in, let you know what's going on. Until then, Crawl will continue to run at the bottom of your screen. Back to regular programming. And of course, we'll be back with you if warnings warrant. Meteorologist TJ Shuck here again. New tornado warning out for parts of Perry County and running northeastward into, looks like the southern part of Crawford County there, and then crossing it. Actually, let's broaden it out a little bit, Alden, here, so we can get our bearings into parts of Harrison County, southeastern Crawford, and a good bit Perry County here. So Cordon, you're under the gun, Leavenworth as well, and Leopold. It's right here in this area right here, just off to the north of Leopold. It looks like the Alton area right there in extreme southern Crawford County along the Ohio River. You're going to see the potential of some damaging winds right now, but the concern is this little area right here. But actually, Alden, let's put a track basically from English all the way down. If you even want to broaden it out just a little bit more so we can see maybe what we're going to catch as far as arrival time, because that leading edge there, again, this thing is racing off to the northeast at about 65 miles per hour. So within, I think, the next 40 minutes or so, it is going to be here in the metro area. So right now on top of Alden, as we mentioned, Leavenworth here in about 5 minutes, DePaul at 10:18, Cordon, county seat there, Harrison County at 10:23, Greenville at 10:31, Georgetown at 10:32, New Albany and Floyd County 10:40, and here in Louisville, probably downtown, I think it'll be in the western part of Jefferson County, probably by about 10:40 or so. So this area here of north central, northeastern Perry County, southeastern Crawford County, and into western sections of Harrison County, tornado warning until 10:30 for the next 25 minutes. So you know the drill. Go to a basement. If you don't have a basement, an interior room, the lowest level of your home, preferably a closet, bathroom. You want to be away from exterior windows and walls. Do have anything you can to protect yourself from the potential of flying debris. Now keep in mind, again, the signature here, and I want to zoom in a little bit and look at the velocity data. Again, the couplet hasn't been overly strong, but that's what we have a tendency to see if you've lived in this area for any length of time. As we see these areas of thunderstorms, a squall line coming on through, we get these little kinks here along the line, and every once in a while they can spin up an isolated tornado that can do basically the equivalent of straight line wind damage, EF0, EF1. We've got 70, 75 mile per hour winds here in blue, about probably maybe 2,500, 3,000 feet off the deck as this gets closer to the radar, which is in Fort Knox there in northern Harrison County. So anything in red is going away from the radar, which again is back down to the southeast here. Anything in green is going toward the radar. So where you see these little greens and reds, interesting right there, just out of the box. Southeastern parts of Perry County about to cross into just a small little sliver, it looks like, of Meade County there, I believe. It's this general area. It is east of Leopold now, but you're still seeing some very, very strong winds across the central part of Perry County, north central Perry County, and really the heaviest weather is coming into Leopold there in southern Crawford County and about to cross the border, heading toward Corydon, New Salisbury, over toward Georgetown, Lanesville, and then rapidly clipping potentially even downtown Louisville here. The entire area, let's switch back to the precipitation, the reflectivity data here, and kind of broaden things out, and we'll show you the bigger picture. We do have a few severe thunderstorm warnings here up Orange County, western Washington, and back into eastern parts of Du Bois County, and another one here for this isolated cell, and these can be ones that you really have to watch because they basically have the full environment to feed off of, all that warm, moist, and unstable air, summer-like evening out there. So western parts of Grayson County, including Caneyville, right up to Litchfield, along the western Kentucky parkways. But you see just how quickly this is rapidly approaching the Louisville metro area. So if you're here in the metro proper, you want to go ahead and be prepared to seek your safe place, your shelter. If you live in a mobile home, we've had this discussion earlier today, given what's going on with coronavirus, typically, suggest a sturdier structure to go to. Many times that can be a building. Hopefully it may be a neighbor, friend's home, that type of thing, but a mobile home is not where you want to be, with the potential of a tornado and some very strong straight line winds. Again, there's that leading edge that is rapidly coming up toward English and Crawford County. I think our broad circulation looks to be just right here in this area. That right there, I think, just off to the southwest of Leavenworth, where you see the reds and greens. Let's stop that at the last frame, Alden, and just zoom into that, because that's a little bit tighter. Go down just a bit. I think right here is where your possible tornado is, just right around Artist Point there. That's in the extreme southern part of Crawford County, just right along the Ohio River here. Here is Meade County, so it's just a small little sliver of it, and then it's eventually going to skip over into Harrison County here. It's this little couplet where you see the reds going away, the greens going toward the radar, which is back down here to the southeast. Anytime you see that right there, that gives us an indication that we've got some rotation aloft, and of course this is getting closer to the radar site as the entire area of thunderstorms moves eastward and northeastward very rapidly at about 65 miles per hour. So this is going to be in and out in fairly short order. So let's kind of broaden things back out, and actually, Alden, I do want to do a cone on that area right there specifically, broaden it out a little bit and take it off to the northeast. Again, rapidly moving at about 65 miles per hour. I mean, you see where the couplet is, and it's kind of hard to see up against the red, but there's the end of the tornado warning polygon, so it's heading that direction very, very quickly. So again, Artist Point, you need to be in a safe place. Corden and central Harrison County, 16 minutes from you. New Salisbury, 20 minutes, 25 minutes for Georgetown. Floyd's Knobs there, the Knobs in Floyd County, and about a half an hour and up towards Sellersburg. Again, obviously the cone gets wider as we get farther out in time, but this is the area right here that we're concerned about in extreme southern Crawford County. The warning goes until the bottom of the hour, until 10:30, but the movement of this cell is so quick it may once again outrun the tornado warning polygon and be into the central part of Harrison County up toward Corden and maybe passing south of Georgetown. Again, with that northeast trajectory here, these are the areas that are going to potentially be affected by where the rotation is, which again is a little bit stronger. Notice we went back to programming at the top of the hour and then came back. The initial tornado warning was a little bit farther to the north, but as I mentioned a few minutes ago, when you get a cluster of thunderstorms coming in from the west, you get little kinks in it, and with the turning of the winds, you can get a little isolated tornado to potentially spin up here. So the areas listed here, again, you need to keep an eye on this. Louisville here in about 35 minutes. It may, in fact, at least that part of the cell that's potentially tornadic, if it keeps on its current trajectory, it may just run through Floyd County into Clark County just on the other side of the river, but it may be a close call. What will not be is, let's switch back to the reflectivity, kind of broaden things out, and we can put the lightning data on it as well. Even beyond the potential of the isolated tornado, we had the damaging wind threat running from Paoli, Salem, you're not in the severe thunderstorm warning yet. It's just to your west, but I highly suspect that up and down this line here, we're going to continue to see severe thunderstorm warnings issued downstream. So Washington County and Indiana, Harrison County, Floyd County, Clark County, and here in the metro, and even down into Bullitt, northern Hardin, and Meade County, north of Hardin, Breckenridge County. This leading edge has a history of producing wind damage back across western Kentucky. In fact, this entire area hours ago was part of a supercell that produced a pretty strong tornado across the northeastern part of Arkansas and did some damage on the east side of Jonesboro, Arkansas, there in northeastern Arkansas, skipped through the boot heel of southeast Missouri, and essentially has been running right up the Ohio River during the course of the evening. So we've talked about this over the last couple of days, the potential of a mid to late evening and into the overnight severe weather event. So what I want to do here, Alden, before we go back to the velocity data, I want to put the safety tips up here because it's getting late in the evening, and folks, even though it's a Saturday night, of course, most folks are at home given what's going on with the coronavirus. Here's what you need to do, of course, stay up to date with our forecast. We'll be here all night tracking this. This is key here into the overnight. You need to have a way to be woken up by a warning, especially areas east of I-65. Now, some of the data indicates this area of storms will weaken as it gets farther east, crossing the I-65 corridor, and as we get deeper in the evening, but can't take any chances because by then we'll be talking midnight or not long thereafter. A lot of folks have apps on their cell phones. You want to have the ringer on, and the key is the alerts need to be on, the notifications need to be on. You need to, does you no good to have the app if it does not have a way to alert you. No weather radios are great, of course, have that battery backup, and this is key. And of course, we have talked about it over the last several weeks with a few severe thunderstorm events that we have had early in the severe weather season. Always have that designated safe space to go to in a situation like we have right now with that ongoing tornado warning. So if we can jump back to the radar here, Alden, and we will give you an update on that tornado warning that we've got across parts of Perry County and moving into Crawford County and quickly toward Corden here. Again, the leading edge of this with the very, very torrential rain running along I-64 right there on the Crawford and Harrison County line. Corden, the heaviest rain and some strong winds coming up on you here probably within the next 5 minutes or so. English and Crawford County, you got a lot of torrential rain. Again, this may be enough to produce some quick flash flooding, even though the cells themselves are working off to the northeast at 60 to 65 miles per hour. Keep in mind, the criteria for severe thunderstorm warning is wind speeds 58 miles per hour or greater. So the actual movement of these storms themselves, that's enough to potentially do a little wind damage as they sweep eastward here. But let's jump back to the velocity data. About 15 minutes to go on the warning here, and you can see the red box here with the tornado warning, the yellow box, that's the severe thunderstorm warning, and there is your potential rotation. Looks like it's right between Alton and Leavenworth, just right there in that little curve, which is in northwestern Meade County in Kentucky, and then here's Crawford County, and just over the border into, you can see it right here, that's Harrison County. So it's just right there in that Tri-County area between Crawford, Harrison County, Indiana, and extreme northwestern Meade County. Let's take it a little bit closer, Alden, so we can get a little better bead on this. The greens going toward the radar, the reds going away. So when you see that right there in that area, right between Artist Point and Leavenworth here, just south of Indiana State Route 62. So with its northeastward movement, White Cloud in Harrison County, Corden, the county seat, areas north and south, there along Indiana State Route 135. This is rapidly heading your direction. This is where the rotation is, and as we get closer to the metro area and closer to the radar site, notice the beam updating the data. The radar, of course, is on the ground, and that beam goes aloft. So this circulation that it's showing is probably maybe 2,500, 3,000 feet off of the deck, so to speak. So it is picking up at least some circulation aloft, and that's showing the signs of potentially producing a tornado as it moves into Harrison County here. Ironically, you've got areas in the tornado warning polygon up here along I-64. You can still see some wind damage and even the possibility of maybe a little isolated spin up, even though we're concentrating on things down here as it skips over Meade County and into Harrison County, Indiana. It's just literally right on the edge of that warning polygon. Areas farther to the north, that leading edge, as we mentioned, has the potential of producing some damaging winds because it kind of swoops down and rushes through your area very quickly. Back to the west, Henderson County, Henderson there near Owensboro reported a 90-mile-per-hour wind gust, and that wasn't estimated. It was measured by the Kentucky Mesonet, which we get temperatures, wind speeds, all kinds of data from, and they are scattered throughout the Commonwealth. So that's some pretty strong winds. That's basically the equivalent of a weak tornado here. So really anywhere up and down the line. Let's go ahead and broaden things out and switch back to the reflectivity data here.
And there is a new severe thunderstorm warning for Breckenridge and Meade County.
Let's show you that. Again, you can see right here, Irvington, it's right on top of you. Hardinsburg, you're good in Breckenridge County. It's this area. Brandenburg, it looks like it comes right up to you here. This part of the cluster of thunderstorms moving eastward has the potential of producing winds, I think, really in excess of 65, 70 miles per hour. Again, the threshold is 58 miles per hour or greater, but this has had a history, at least back across western Kentucky. Our hope is that it will weaken somewhat as it runs along the I-65 corridor here. But again, this part of the cell that could potentially either spin up a little isolated tornado, especially as it kind of joins forces with the entire area of thunderstorms. This little isolated cell that's just zipped up into Breckenridge County here. So Irvington, it's basically on top of you, up toward Ekron there, south of Brandenburg and Meade County, and then Laconia there in southern Harrison County. You'll see it here in about 21 minutes. West Point, southwestern part. Right there, Jefferson County, out Dixie Highway, right there, Hardin County, Jefferson County line, and then New Middletown farther up the pike in about a half an hour. So let's widen things out here, and you can see all up and down the line here. The looks like the severe thunderstorm warning is still ongoing for Orange County, although you're in it firmly. Paoli, French Lick, it's past you. Folks in Salem and Washington County, you're not under the severe thunderstorm warning, but I do think they'll probably extend that farther to the east. There's your tornado warning again for that little rotation that we have been showing. And don't want to forget about you folks down here in southern Kentucky. This one very strong thunderstorm cell is rolling up the western Kentucky Parkway. It's on top of Caneyville, Litchfield as well. Sunfish down here, which is out of the viewing area, that's down into Edmonson County, north of Brownsville, but eventually heading over toward Bonneville, Sonora, and southern Hardin County, right up the western Kentucky Parkway to Eastview, and then you get to Split and heading up the Bluegrass Parkway and then over toward Hodgenville, probably I'd say within the next half hour or so. All of these are, again, rapidly moving to the northeast at 60 to 65 miles per hour. Just the forward speed in and of itself is enough to produce some wind damage. So let's go back to the north and check on the tornado warning here. About 8 minutes to go until the bottom of the hour. Our job to keep you safe here, especially at night with these storms rolling in from the west, and a lot of severe weather across the Missouri River Valley, mid-Mississippi Valley, and now moving into the Ohio Valley as well. So right on cue, you see the radar sweep updating, and it's not as tight as it was, but you see, again, the reds and the greens side by side, this little area right here, just to the east of Leavenworth. So it is, that part of the circulation is basically going to be along Indiana State Route 62, just kind of following it up toward the interstate and headed right toward Corydon. So you are in the southeastern part of the tornado warning box there in Corydon, just west of Louisville here. 10:22 right now. This warning is set to expire at 10:30 in about 8 minutes. But if you're anywhere along I-64, basically Corydon westward, south of there, south of Corydon along Indiana 135 and 337, you need to be in your safe place. Basement. Don't have a basement, interior room, the lowest level of your home, preferably a closet or a bathroom. You want to keep yourself away from exterior windows and walls. Of course, a mobile home, not the place to be. Hopefully, when we do our severe weather preparedness, you have a safer, sturdier structure that you can go to when these warnings come out. Again, we talked about the potential of severe weather the last couple of days for this evening, and unfortunately, it is being realized late here on this Saturday evening. So this general area here, our radar site is down here in Fort Knox. These are our wind velocities, and you see the brighter green back here. These are winds aloft, probably 3,000 feet or so, and Alden's doing a loop here with it. Anything in red goes away from the radar. Anything in green is moving toward the radar. So when you get those side by side right here west of Corydon and western parts of Harrison County coming toward Corydon, that's where we could see a little isolated tornado spin up right there south of Indiana State Route 62 and over toward I-64. So let's broaden things out a little bit, Alden, and let's put another track on this, and let's do a cone on this one, especially just concentrating on that area. Moving off to the northeast, it's going to be a tight call, it looks like, relative to Metro Louisville. But again, Corydon here, you got 6 minutes. Ironically, that is when the tornado warning ends, and you're just inside that tornado warning polygon. We'll see if the Weather Service chooses to reissue. You saw the little yellow box pop in. That's for the leading edge right here, that line of thunderstorms that is moving into parts of Washington County. So peaking, you're just in it, and then farther north up towards Salem. I talked about that a minute ago, that eventually much of Washington County, Indiana would be in the severe thunderstorm for the damaging wind potential. But Georgetown, 16 minutes, Crandall, 11 minutes, 18 minutes for Greenville, New Albany. They're in Floyd County, 24 minutes, Clarksville, 27 minutes, and then Sellersburg. Notice how the cone, again, it gets wider. Got to have a little room for error here, concentrating on this area right here that has been showing some consistent sign, that little couplet of circulation, which may spin up that isolated tornado. But not to be lost is the damaging wind threat that is rapidly heading toward the Louisville metro area. I mean, here's downtown right here, and we've got the stronger storms coming in very, very quickly. So let's go back to the reflectivity data if we can, Alden.
Yeah, and also just
if you've got any additional info, just want to show folks how close the rain is.
Not on this tornado warning, but there is that new severe thunderstorm warning just up there for Washington County. That goes until Scott and Washington County. That's until 11 p.m. Main threat there are wind gusts of around 60 miles per hour. Also, you notice that little bowing segment there on the velocity. That's probably why they've put out that warning. Right
there on the leading edge. It's kind of bowing out here, coming into the western part of Washington County, and it looks like that part of it here. Notice how it updates, and right there, that's what I was talking about. When we have these squall lines come through Kentuckiana, it's always this way. We have the potential for damaging winds and heavy rain and hail, and we talk about, especially in the springtime, that potential of a spin-up isolated tornado. And when you get, again, the line bowing out like that, a lot of times you can get just a little spin up just right there on the edge as it bows out. So that is an area to be watched off to the southwest of Salem across western Washington County. Again, moving off to the northeast. Just a severe thunderstorm warning until 11 o'clock that runs into western Scott County. Scottsburg proper, you're not in it. It's just west of I-65. But this bears watching because it is kinking out just a bit as this line of thunderstorms, again with the wind velocity here, begins to bow out as we call it here. So even if we don't see that spin-up tornado, this area of Washington, southwestern Washington County, could see winds in excess of 70 miles per hour. Let's go back to the reflectivity data here. I want to check out the rain and see just how long it'll be until we start to see the heaviest stuff. So let's broaden things back out, give you kind of the bigger picture here of everything that's happening. So starting to see some rain up towards Sellersburg, a lot of Clark County. I think here downtown proper, it should be raining within the next 5 minutes or so. But the heaviest weather that we're dealing with is about 30 miles to the due west of Louisville. That's southwest, about 35 miles of Louisville. With its northeastern trajectory here, it's going to head up toward Fort Knox, right near the radar site, and then potentially through Shepherdsville, Mount Washington, maybe clipping southeastern Jefferson County outside of the Gene Snyder, and then over towards Shelbyville. And again, this one's out on its own. And
there's also a new severe thunderstorm warning there, a pretty large one at that. I'm going to take off the radar real fast so you can see that. This is for Meade, Kentucky, Clark, Crawford, Floyd, Harrison, Scott, and Washington, Indiana until 11 p.m.
So clearly they're getting ahead of it. So anything in yellow here, so these are our severe thunderstorm warnings. And again, it's all the way up to basically to the Knobs and New Albany here. Just once you get across the river, you're in it. So I'd say before the top of the hour, we'll probably see that extended off to the east to probably include at least maybe downtown Louisville and up River Road, out I-71 and up toward Oldham County, and then the eastern part of Clark County. Just a severe thunderstorm warning, but in this particular case, given the rapid forward northeastward movement of this, again, the leading edge of this kind of bowing out a little bit up towards Salem, Palmyra, the heaviest rain has arrived over top of you. Corydon, it's headed your way. And, you know, you just look at this and it just looks like a big bucket of spilled paint here.
And that tornado warning just expired.
Yeah, the tornado warning just expired, so that's good. Broaden things out here. We've got our crawl running at the bottom of your screen. So right now, we don't have any tornado warnings currently across Kentuckiana, but this is rapidly heading into the Louisville metro area. Let's just zoom in a little bit closer here to Louisville proper. We are not in the warning in Jefferson County or Louisville, but it literally comes up to the border with Floyd County and the western part of Clark County and a good chunk of Harrison County and a little small sliver of southeastern Washington County. That's the latest severe thunderstorm warning that literally brings it all the way to the doorstep of Louisville proper here. So this stuff's going to be rolling in here within the next half hour or so.
TG, I want to go back up to that cell in Washington near Salem, and I just want you to look at the velocity.
Absolutely.
here.
Let's go back down to here. Okay. Right there, let me switch to the other side here. I talked about how it was bowing out here, and you see the greens and the reds right there. So it looks like just west of Salem out toward Livonia. It's right, actually just to the east of you now. That looks like Indiana State Route 56. It's heading just northeast right towards Salem, the county seat of Washington County, Indiana. So even though we're just under a severe thunderstorm warning, a lot of times the Weather Service can give that possible tornado tag. And I think in this particular case, you should treat this severe thunderstorm warning potentially, especially in Salem and the central and northeastern part of Washington County, Indiana, maybe treat this as a potential tornado, given what we're seeing with our velocity signature here on radar with, again, the greens going toward the radar site, which is down here at Fort Knox, and the reds going away. So anytime you see those side by side, granted, it's a few thousand feet up, and it's not especially tight, but it's right on the edge of that line of storms that is bowing out, and that easily, and many times does, around here in Kentuckiana, spin up a little quick tornado, EF0, EF1. We've even, of course, got the straight line wind damage threat all up and down the line. Reports 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Henderson back in western Kentucky. So this activity, as it moves toward Louisville, definitely means business. Any storm reports at all, Alden?
No, nothing immediately, but that's actually a good point. We can take that time to mention it. If you do have storm reports for us, you can actually text those to us now.
There it is.
Text them to 502-582-7220. You can send us photos or videos. Text, don't call. That number isn't going to work if you try to call us. But if you do have any photos, of course, stay safe if you are getting those photos. But if you have storm reports or photos, send them to that phone number there, and that would be greatly appreciated. We can pass those on to the Weather Service. That helps them, that helps us, and that in turn lets us help you. TG.
Yeah, if we can go back to the radar and let's put go back to that velocity data if you can. Well, let's leave it here for a sec. So again, here's your leading edge, the rain arriving here in Louisville, but even though the rain's starting, the winds are going to be delayed a bit here, all up and down the line here. It's kind of hard to see. If you want to take the reflectivity data off real quick, Alden, just so we can show where the different warnings are. So we don't have the tornado warning, but we do have that potential maybe there in Salem. But folks in Louisville here, it's going to be on top of us probably within the next 15 to 20 minutes, at least the leading edge. So Washington County, northern parts of Harrison County, western Clark, good chunk of Floyd, and that cell that's impacting Meade County and back into parts of Breckenridge County. So do want to check this one more time and put a track. We'll stick the velocity data back on there and put a track on that look that we were seeing that's coming up on Salem right now. Again, no tornado warning out, but when we see this signature, this is what we look for on radar for potential rotation. So that's moving quickly, very, very quickly off to the northeast at about 60 to 65 miles per hour. So Salem, you got 5 minutes here. And again, this part of the line of storms, which is bowing out, you've got straight line wind damage potential with it, but it may be spinning up a brief little tornado. He's saying it's going to drop down. They're on the ground for a minute or less, and then they're back up. And many times you don't even know it's a tornado until the Weather Service goes out and does a site survey to determine whether it's straight line winds or a possible tornado. South Boston, it may pass north of you, although anywhere in this area of Washington County, eventually over into Scott County, Henryville, Deem Lake there in northern Clark County. The entire line is going to come rolling through here, but it's hard that we're concerned with. Scottsburg, you need to keep an eye on this within the next 23 minutes. And then, of course, up toward Hardy Lake, over into Jefferson County, Indiana, Hanover, and Madison. So here's what we're going to do. We're at 10:35. We're about 25 minutes till the top of the hour. WHAS 11 at 11, the night team coming up here. We will take you back to programming since we've got our just severe thunderstorm warnings. Highly suspect within the next few minutes we will get one here in the Louisville metro area as far as the severe thunderstorm warning. We'll have to watch again for any potential rotation. Don't want to forget about you folks down here in western Kentucky, Litchfield over towards Sonora, northern Hart County, part of LaRue County, and just south of E-Town, southern Hardin County. That's a pretty intense cell. Again, winds potentially over 60 to 65 miles per hour. Looks like Bonneville, northern Hart County, Central Time, 9:49. Hodgenville, Eastern Time, 10:52. Magnolia, 10:56. St. Mary at about 11:16. So we're going to kind of reset the clock, so to speak, here, and we will continue to track these storms, watch what's going on for you, get another tornado warning, and as this thing gets in the metro area, we'll jump back on, and if not, we'll see you at the top of the hour for the night team at 11.
Active weather hitting Kentuckiana, or tornado watch in effect right now until 3 a.m. Good evening and welcome to the night team. I'm Paulina Butska. Let's get right to it. Team coverage tonight with Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine right now, Meteorologist Alden German, and Meteorologist Reed Yaden from home. Ben, let's get to you. What's happening out there?
Yeah, Meteorologist Alden German is on radar control. Reed Yaden is in his home weather studio tracking storm reports across the area. Just less than an hour ago, Storm Team Meteorologist T.G. Shuck was tracking a couple of tornado warnings have expired. Paulina mentioned we do have for most of our area a tornado watch until 3 a.m. So the atmosphere is pretty ripe for the chance of severe storms over the next few hours. Thankfully, as that line of storms was progressing to the east, it has been weakening a bit, and we are down to one severe thunderstorm warning that does include a little portion of southwestern Jefferson County, a little part of the metro area, and that's until 11:15. We're losing a little bit of that surface wind energy, but there were a couple of reports of some tree damage just out to the west of Cordon and Harrison counties. So here's that line starting to move right into metro Louisville. Heavy rain, lightning and thunder, and some gusty winds over downtown Louisville now, and Shively down to PRP and Valley Station. These are tracking quickly off to the east and northeast at about 50 to 60 miles per hour. So they won't last too long, but there is some steady rain and some lightning and thunder back out to the west of that. The southern Indiana severe thunderstorm warnings have been canceled for now, but we'll keep an eagle eye on all these storms. And the storm that was off to the south of Elizabethtown with the severe thunderstorm warning, that has expired as well, but you do have some very heavy rain, lightning and thunder, and that rain coming down really hard around Elizabethtown down to Sonora into parts of northern Hart County. There is a look at an extension of a severe thunderstorm warning for Metro Louisville. That includes the east end, right around the Snyder, the Waterson, Fern Creek up to Anchorage, and that will likely continue over the next half hour. So just stay inside as we should be and know your safe place to go. So for the rest of tonight, for the next few hours at least, while we have that tornado watch, just stay up to date on that forecast. Have a way to be woken up by a severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning. Have your cell phone charged, the ringer and the alerts on, your weather radio close by with fresh batteries, and know that designated safe place to go very, very quickly. We do have any severe weather information also scrolling at the bottom of your screen, WHAS11.com as well. Coming up, we'll put a track on that latest severe thunderstorm warning forecast as ahead.
Ben, thank you. Severe weather hitting Kentuckiana right now. We've got team coverage with Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine, Reed Yaden over at home, and Alden German in-house. Ben, we're going to take it off with you right now. What's happening out there?
Yeah, Paulina, we've all been watching this very closely today. We do have a tornado watch for most of the area until 3 a.m. This does not include Jackson, Jennings, and Lawrence counties in southern Indiana. I think a lot of southern Indiana will see this tornado watch expire a bit earlier than 3 a.m. We do have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings now for Louisville with that deep red right there, and also a severe thunderstorm just off to the southeast of Elizabethtown and just south of the Bluegrass Parkway. So first off, let's get through Metro Louisville. Lots of very heavy rain, lightning and thunder. Some wind gusts have been reported up to around 50 miles per hour plus. This can cause some spotty power outages and some tree damage. We all just need to stay inside, obviously, here. So here is a look at the track on this line of severe storms heading to Crestwood at about 11:18, basically just a few minutes, or right now. LaGrange at 11:23. Fisherville at 11:25, 11:30 in Simpsonville, Smithville at about 11:30, and into Newcastle in Henry County about 11:35. As we head off to the south, we'll put a track on this line right here. Some of the strongest weather there, as you can see, that pinpoint. So that's heading off to the east-northeast towards Gleanings, Raywick, Holy Cross, St. Mary, Bear Wallow, and Springfield over the half hour. So we still have some activity that we're going to be tracking now along and east of I-65. Areas west of I-65 are calming down a little bit. But earlier this evening, meteorologist T.G. Shuck and meteorologist Alden German were tracking this severe thunderstorm, and these had a tornado warning on them earlier this evening. And this storm report just 4 miles out to the west of Hardinsburg here in Breckinridge County. A boat was sucked up out of a carport, and there was some fence damage and some damage to a barn and a canopy there in Breckinridge County. So these storms have had a history of doing some wind damage, and thankfully right now, no tornado warnings. But if they do pop up, again, we have that tornado watch for the next few hours until 3 a.m. Nowhere to go. Get to your safe place immediately when that alert is issued. Avoid the windows, doors, and outside walls. Find that interior section of your home, and you can cover yourself up with blankets, your mattress, pillows for protection. And the absolute safest place to be is in the basement. Meteorologist Alden German is going to show us what to expect for the rest of tonight and for the rest of the weekend as well.
Thanks, Ben. Let's go ahead and Let's go ahead and take a look at Futurecast for right now. So this is, of course, a very fluid situation. We currently have a thunderstorm that's over the core of our area right now, but we need to move through the rest of the night. We're going to have that strong cold front I mentioned at 6:30 back to our west begin to move through the area, and that might do enough to maybe spark off a couple more thunderstorms across the region. Remember that that tornado watch goes until 3 a.m. But once that cold front gets closer to us, it's really going to begin to shut off a lot of that rain activity. This is at 3:30 in the morning. That tornado watch should hypothetically be expired by now. And as that front begins to push on through, we're still going to have windy conditions. And Sunday is going to be a fairly windy day for us as well, but it's going to be mostly sunny. So all in all, not a bad day. Futurecast is indicating temperatures here in the middle 60s. With enough sunshine, we could actually bump ourselves back up into the upper 60s, but still going to be windy with wind gusts up to 30 to 35 miles per hour at times. After that, there's really not too much going on for the next couple of days. Monday's going to be another pretty nice day for us. Temperatures in the middle 60s, another sunny day and not too windy either. But then our attention turns to Tuesday. We're going to see clouds begin to increase Tuesday night. And although Futurecast isn't showing it here, there have been model indications that we are going to see some scattered rain across the region heading into portions of our Tuesday. Not going to have to worry about severe weather though. Going to be far too cool for that. We'll only be in the middle 50s for parts of next week. Another look outside right now, our R&B roofing and remodeling camera. You can see the lightning flashing out there. Sheets of rain were coming down earlier. Our camera looked as if it was underwater if you saw that at the top of the show. And it's still pretty mild as well. Some locations still in the middle 70s. The airport coming in at 67 degrees, still at 75 degrees in Shepherdsville. You can also see where that heavier rain was earlier because now that air has been cooled by that rain. 69 in Bedford, 64 in Jasper, only 61 degrees in Paoli, but still in the middle 70s further to the east of Metro Louisville, still providing just a little bit of energy there for those storms as they continue their march across the region. Here's your hometown forecast for tomorrow. A sunny day, but windy. Again, those winds occasionally gusting at times up to about 30 to 35 miles per hour. If you have a kite, maybe good kite weather, maybe a little bit too windy for that, but otherwise high temperatures in the middle to upper 60s. I think we'll be able to recover just enough to get closer to that 70-degree mark. Here's our Sunday showing you mostly sunny conditions for tomorrow and into Monday. Only in the middle 50s come Tuesday. 70% chance to see scattered showers. We'll see what those new model runs are indicating Tuesday as they come in later on tonight. April 1st is on Wednesday. No joke there for the forecast. Upper 50s, and then we slowly start to warm back up, stair-stepping through the 60s into Friday, where we have just a slight chance to see some more showers in the region. We have more news on WHAS 11 when we come back.